Greetings, I'm Jeff Johnston, and this is Straight Talk, where we answer your questions and address some technical items about RVing that may be of interest to you. Today we're here with
Michelle Fontaine of RVing Today, and I'm visiting Jeff and Pam in Oregon. And while we were driving the truck yesterday, Jeff actually drove my rig for a couple of hours and got a good feel for it.
Yeah.
Which is why these things have come out.
Yeah. And part of what we noticed while driving was that the trailer brakes seemed a little bit off on adjustment relative to the truck brakes. These are all things that you can change according to your brake control. And while we were driving then, I was doing some adjustments and getting it dialed in a little bit closer. And
this is all new to me.
Michelle seemed a little bit surprised about what I was doing.
I was, and I've driven this rig about 10,000 miles. So,
Okay.
And there's a little knob, little lever there, and I would try to tweak that to make it feel more correct. But there are some things I had no idea about. So,
Well, it's this is one of those things that people get a little bit confused about sometimes, and they're not quite sure how to make this work right. Well, we're going to be showing you, this is the Tekonsha Voyager XP model. Most brake controls, aftermarket brake controls like this, have similar features and similar controls. It just may look a little bit different, but this is a very good general example of what these things look like. And a lot of the larger vehicles, pickups and SUVs and so on today, have integrated brake controls built in by the factory, and those are terrific, but they all have similar controls and similar features. It's just delivered in a different way. So this one, the first thing that I noticed was that the trailer brakes did not seem to be affecting the truck very much, and you find that out easily enough. They all have a manual application lever on the front.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there's a spring-loaded lever that's designed to be able to just move it all the way over till it stops, and what that lever is doing is applying full power to the trailer brakes. This is an emergency situation sort of piece of the brake control. If the trailer starts to sway, for example, the worst thing you can do is step on the brakes on your truck, because that swaying is going to be aggravated. If the trailer starts to sway a little bit, you keep your foot off the gas and off the brake, and you apply the trailer brakes a little bit, and then that pulls the trailer directly in line, snaps it right in line behind your tow vehicle, and stops that swaying situation, or it usually does anyway.
What about in an icy situation, Jeff? How would you?
If it's icy, you need to be driving someplace else.
Well,
you know the old saying for RVers, like the snowbirds, the first snowflake that falls on my head is God's fault. The next one is my fault.
Okay.
So anyway, but if you're in an icy situation,
Stop.
All bets are off.
Okay.
That changes it. And if you jam this on in an icy situation, the trailer is going to start sliding all over the place, because obviously the wheels will lock up on the ice.
All right.
Now this Tekonsha is very much like most brake controls, very similar controls. You have the manual on the front here, and there's a wheel on the right that is the gain control. That is the volume that tells the brake control how much voltage to send back to the trailer. And that's important to be able to change that, because every trailer is going to need a little bit different voltages based on the weight of the trailer, number of axles, and so on. And in this case, on the other side, it also has a sensitivity setting. Not all brake controls have this, but the ones that do, this allows you to change the sensitivity of how the brakes react when you hit the truck brakes, whether the trailer brakes come on quickly or slowly, for example. And this is the manual controller on the front. This is very important to know. You should practice reaching down and grabbing this manual control when you're driving sometime, just to know where it is, so you can kind of get accustomed to grabbing that manual control in an emergency situation. Adjusting your brake control is something that's going to take some trial and error. Every tow vehicle and trailer combination is going to be a little bit different. There's no such thing as installing this and heading down the road without touching it. In order to make the braking comfortable and well matched, it takes a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of tweaking here and there, but once you get it set up, you can forget about it because it'll last that way for a long time. And even if you change your payload a little bit, you carry a little more, a little less cargo, that small amount of difference in weight probably isn't going to affect how this works relative to your truck and trailer.
So if you're a solo camper like I am, if you're doing the driving, period, if you're doing the driving, you really should get comfortable with the brake controller.
Right.
And I'm really sorry that everybody doesn't have a Jeff that can drive along with them. So I hope this has helped.
Well, it's something that it just takes a little bit of experience to understand what you're feeling when you go to stop. You know, is the trailer dragging you, or is the trailer pushing you? Is there too much or too little brake control? And by the time you get this thing dialed in, like I say, you can forget about it and just enjoy the drive.
And you don't want to have to be playing with it in an emergency.
Yeah.
When you're already anxious, you don't want to be playing with that.
No, that the emergency, you got to be dialed in so that you can not have to do that in an emergency.
Excellent.
So I hope that this helps, and happy travels.
Thank you, Jeff.